Hi and welcome to everyone joining us for this pre-recorded show for the Saturday meeting in Gauteng. So it is recorded early on Friday morning. So on Saturday, or if it is the day of the morning, take note of the final declarations as it is pre-recorded. On the line with me is Alistair Cohen. He's going to take us through things. Firstly, Alistair, how are you doing? And secondly, how's the weather?
Yeah, Sheldon, all good, thank you. I trust you and all the viewers are doing well as well. Friday morning weather, absolutely unbelievable. A little bit of rain earlier in the week, but that was just to freshen things up, and also much welcomed rain. The forecast for the next 7 days is proper here on the Halfveld, so we have no issues as far as the weather is concerned. I like the Hollywoodbets Durbanville card a little bit more than I like the Turffontein card, but with that said, I've taken a thin 16 Rand place accumulator on this card, so I think we got a good chance of winning, but I think in terms of volumes to be made, I think there could be more money to be made at Hollywoodbets Durbanville, but we're definitely going to give this a go on Saturday.
Right, let's get straight into the opener. Being a 9-race program, race number 1 will try and make some money. And looking at the anti-post betting, they have number 4 Pocket Watch. That is the favourite at 22-10. Number 1 Marquez around about 9-2, and you can get 5-1 and better the rest. Now, Alistair, just looking at the stats, for those guys who like the stats out there, from the last 785 races, the highest number of winners have come from gate 1 and the second highest number of winners from gate number 2 from the last 785 races. So those draws seem to be very important over this trip.
Oh yeah, inside draws on the Turffontein inside track, especially up to a mile, are paramount. And I think I know your angle. The favourite, number 4 Pocket Watch, is draw number 1. He deserves to win, the son of Master of My Fate. Probably got left with a bit too much to do over 1,200 metres last time. He was the subject of an objection at his penultimate start, and that was Eiffel Tower. Came out and won subsequently, and I think he's got a chance later on in the card when he runs in race number 6. So he's stepped up, whereas Pocket Watch is still languishing in the maidens. I don't think it's a dead field by any stretch of the imagination. I think there are horses here that are ready to win, but I think the most ready to win will be number 4 Pocket Watch. I think there's a better trip for him, being by Master of My Fate out of a Jugpot mare. He runs like this trip won't be an issue, although his best runs have come over 1,200 metres. Pettigrew's Yard's been a little bit quiet of late, but it'll be a matter of time before a horseman of that calibre bounces back. So I think number 4 Pocket Watch is a good starting point on this card. Number 1 Marquez looked the absolute part when he came into the parade ring last time. I'm glad that I spotted him. He stepped up, showed good improvement, running 2.5 lengths to Champimpi. So a confirmation of that last run should put him into the picture as well. He is a full brother to William Robertson. 3 Breath of Magic's had his chances against weaker, so I'm not convinced that his winning chance is coming now. And watch the betting on the first time as numbers 9 and 10. Nice quartet horse here. I don't think he can win, but I think he can definitely make quartets pay. It is number 13 Storm Brasco. He's got a bit to find with Marquez, but he's obviously got the improvement factor to come. I think he can run into the first 4, but I'll be surprised if he won.
Let's take it on to race number 2. So race number 2, once again over 1,450 metres. And all the money coming in for the Tony Peter runner, which is, let's just have a quick look, number 3 Witblitz. So number 3 Witblitz from 4-1 down around 5-2, making the local debut there. And when the money comes for the stable, you've got to sit back and take healthy respect, Alistair.
Yeah, spot on, Sheldon. First run for the yard, first run over this type of distance, being out of a Galileo mare. The form guard of Cape horses they go up to Tony Peter tells you that there's improvement to come. Jason Gates finished off a double at the Val on Thursday, one of the winners for Tony Peter in the former Perilla. I must confess it was actually a good ride from Jason to get Perilla across the line from Alabama Anna. A stride before and a stride after. Alabama Anna is the winner of that race. And here we are with Witblitz, who, to be fair, has shallow form in Cape Town. There's nothing that's beaten Witblitz over the last 4 starts that screams grade 1 winner in waiting. But again, nothing in this race screams grade 1 winner in waiting. So if there's enough improvement to come, I suspect number 3 Witblitz will win the race. If you look past it, there's enough dangers. 2 Heart Peaks was well beaten last time by Champagne Cocktail. Is one of the most exciting 3-year-old fillies on the half odds. So 2 Heartbeats ought not to be far away despite a bit of a dicey draw. And now Princess Lola, when a 23 start maiden beats you by 3 1/4 lengths, despite the improvement shown and despite going up to probably the sweet spot distance-wise, I'll be a little bit worried. So, that all points to number 3, Vitblitz. As for number 5, Courageous, her work is good. Her work is always good. She's overdue a win. Her last run was so disappointing at Hollywoodbets Greyville. Never mind running 5th. The fact that she didn't get into the first 3 was a very bitter pill to swallow, but she could get into the top 4. That's probably where she fits in.
Right, let's move on to race number 3. We're a popular selection, and a number of the guys will be taking their doubles and their trebles with this horse called Champagne Cocktail, number 6. The Mike de Kock stable have a very strong hand in this contest. But you got to admit, Champagne Cocktail, so well bred. I mean, the lines there are unbelievable. And the way she won first time out, she could be anything in the making. Alistair?
So she's straight into the deep end, Sheldon. She's a full sister to Hollywoodbets Durbanville winner Sparkling Water. And funny enough, she's got 0 characteristics of Sparkling Water other than the ability that she showed first time out. Sparkling Water at the start of her career was an absolute basket case. She needed lead ponies and went down to the start early. I mean, she eventually got over those demons at the end of it all, but still, Champagne Cocktail looked like a consummate professional first time out, not needing any of the aids and the guides to get down to the start, and she duly won. A horse that she hammered and ran 3rd, and with an E, came out and won by double figures. That wasn't a work riders race, so not necessarily comparing apples with apples, but the point is she made Anne with an E look ordinary, and Anne with an E made an ordinary field look very, very ordinary. So that all points to her favor. She comes in with a light weight. It's interesting to know that Mike de Kock has nominated her in quite a lot of races over the last couple of weeks and settled on this one. Like I said, into the deep end against these older horses, but she gets the weight turnaround. If she is going to be a group filly like the Connections think and hope she is, she should win this. She's a PA and Barpot banker.
There we go, PA and Barpot banker. Really looking forward to this individual. And as we say, the sky's the limit. And let's hope that she puts in another winning super performance and comes home and shows how good she is. Let's step on to the gas for race number 4, and just having a look at race number 4, odds on 9 to 10, and that is Mrs. Browning. So number 1, Mrs. Browning, she's the odds on favourite. Looking at the balance of the field, let's firstly touch on number 3, Strange Magic, which you own. How is Strange Magic doing? And then obviously number 1, Mrs. Browning, she looks quite tough to beat, and you've bankered her.
Yeah, Mrs. Browning should win this race. To answer your question about Strange Magic, the horses that return from KZN, their first runs back tend to be good runs. It's just an observation I've picked up, not only with Candace's horses, but also with various other trainers who perhaps go down to Durban, expect to win, they run okay, or they do win occasionally, and they come back, and that first run back in Joburg is good. I'm not sure if it's the sea air, the altitude factor, having a run on what is not a very challenging poly track. I don't know what it is, but they tend to come back with a bit of spark. But off level weights with number 1, Mrs. Browning, it's going to be very, very hard. I mean, we're talking a horse, to be fair, Strange Magic best on the inside track, best on this course and distance, so that gives an element of hope. But we've got Strange Magic here who's been running in this level of handicaps, and we've got Mrs. Browning who's coming out of a grade 2 and has competed at a high level in the past. So, off level weights, the handicapper shows that there's not much in the way of Mrs. Browning's obstacle here. There's no obstacles for her on paper. Bonnet has obviously got a fair degree of ability. In fact, I think she's got a lot of ability, but she's been off since March, so she's entitled to need the run. I'll be surprised if Mrs. Browning gets beat. I would be very happy if Strange Magic beat her, but I think it's unlikely here, Sheldon.
Moving along to race number 5, and the field has been decimated slightly. Scratched is number 1, Shoemaker at the early time of recording. Let's just have a double look there. Yeah, take out Shoemaker. What do you make of this contest, Alistair? How can we play our cards in this race?
complex race, Sheldon. I mean, it's a progress plate, so you would default to the best weighted column. The top of that is obviously the scratched horse Shoemaker. The second horse there is number 2 Star Coin, and he earned his rating by running 4 1/4 lengths behind Anfield's Rocket in the South African Classic, and the handicap has not given him a drop. So I think he's got an inflated rating, number 2 Star Coin, and then number 3 Smorgasbord, who's probably in the right place. I liked Smorgasbord last Thursday at the Vaal when they only had one race. I really liked Smorgasbord. I think he's now ready to take on this type of distance. He's been this type of trip once before, and that was in the Independence on Saturday Drill Horse Stakes when he ran third to Silver Operator in receipt of half a kilo. That run screams winner in this race. It's not even a contest. I know that he's lost his way for a little bit, probably not the same horse as he was as a 2 and 3 year old, but he has shown signs of life. So I think number 3 Smorgasbord is a hard horse to beat, especially with a 4 kilo claim. The 3-year-olds are very interesting. 7 Zenovi and 9 Prince of Green, most especially. Zenovi caught my eye last time from a bad draw, rushed up late to finish 3 lengths to Purple Pitcher. That was a good run out of draw 1. I'll give him the time of day. I think he'll run nicely. And there's something about number 9 Prince of Green to like. I know that he's probably got a lot more to come than what he's shown. Put him into your pick 6. I've left him out of my PA, which is my suggested bet, but off a lightweight, I think number 9 Prince of Green will be somewhere in the frame.
Moving on to race number 6. Now, this looks like one of those races where you're going to have to watch them in the parade ring, watch them go down to the start. The up-and-coming 3-year-olds, and a number of these horses, we're not quite sure what rate of knots they'll be improving from run to run. But what we know is what we see in the form guide, and there's some decent form on offer, Alistair.
I had a tough time going through this race, Sheldon. I've gone 2 horses, and I think I should have gone 3. So those 2 horses are 3 and 5, Jordan and House of Romanov. The reason why I'm a bit wary about Jordan is the inside track. He's a big free-striding horse who takes a bit of time to warm up, and the inside track might be a little bit too tight for him. But I think I know that he's got a lot of quirks. Sean Terry's been open about that he's a difficult horse to iron out and to get to the races, what have you. And he also won on a soft track last time. That was obviously the race meeting that they cancelled after Jordan's win. But he's upwardly mobile. He's probably more upwardly mobile than anyone else in this race. It wouldn't surprise me to see him in 6 months' time be a bit further on than some of these, than every other horse in this race. 5 House of Romanov, though, has fitness on his side, has guidance around the inside track, won over this course in distance beating Birthright. That's a strong form line. Last time he probably just went to stride too fast. He's got draw 1. He receives half a kilo from number 3 Jordan. So that makes me believe that House of Romanov will run a good race. The odds been a little bit quiet of late. I know they had a winner on Thursday, but by their crazy standards, I think they'll be a little bit perturbed with how the odds been going. So 3 and 5 are my numbers, but I think there are a couple of good horses here. 2 Silver Sanctuary. I don't think she's the easiest to catch. She's a full sister to Safe Passage. I believe she shows better work than Safe Passage, but she's obviously got a long way to get to win grade 1s like Safe Passage did. And I'm interested in number 4, the front line. He's a nice horse in the making. Wherever he runs here, just keep an eye on him and see his progress through the 3-year-old campaign this season.
Next up will be race number 7, and when looking at the 7th race, you've got 2 runners here, numbers 6 and 8. Let's kick off with number 6, Milieu. He has a 5-year-old gelding, and just looking at the record, 23 runs for 4 victories and a host of placings. So when it comes to Milieu, consistency is the name.
Okay, so interesting that you started off with Milieu, Sheldon. My 2 numbers here are 6 and 8, Milieu and Bayesier. But the angle that you're picking up is exactly the angle why I didn't bank a number 8 Bayesier. When I went through the card, typed up my numbers, and then looked again, that's what I generally do. And the reason why I haven't banked a number 8 Bayesier is exactly the reasons why you've mentioned number 6 Milieu needs to go into the play, because he just runs honest races all the time. He loves the inside track. He seems to love Diego de Gavea as well for a second in a win under Diego. He's never going to look flashy. He's never going to win by a long way, but he gets the job done when he does win, and when he doesn't win, he's bang there. There's heaps of collateral form here. It's a bit muddled, but on the 27th of July, Milieu finished in front of Destiny of Souls. Very generous weight turnaround for Milieu to stay in front of Destiny of Souls. And again on the 2nd of September, even though Milieu finished a length behind Twin Turbo and a length in front of Supreme Dance, Milieu's in here to finish right alongside, if not in front of Twin Turbo. And also I think Twin Turbo, coming back in distance and settling on that occasion, probably just worked the Oracle. Life's a little bit harder this time around. So number 6, Milieu, has every right to run his customary race, if not winning, going very close. But my top choice is undoubtedly number 8, Bayesier. Inside track specialist, loves it around here. 10 starts on the inside track for 4 wins and 5 places. I think the only time he missed the money on the inside track was coming back from a bit of a break there, 6.5 lengths to Meridius. So that was the only time he missed the money on the inside track. He gives of his all. His last run was refreshing to see, finishing a quarter of a length to Perfect Witness on the wrong track. I think that he's going to run a huge race. So he's my top selection, number 8, Bayesier. If there is a bit of value around come race time, I'll climb into it each way. But if there's no value, I think I'd be brave enough to have a win bet on number 8, Bayesier.
There we go. Keep a close eye on these individuals. Milieu, very, very consistent, and Bayesier, certainly a horse that's going to give you a run for your money. As we move on to the penultimate race of the day, and Candice Dawson's got quite a strong hand here in the last 2 races, and number 5, Mini Coupe, I see you've elected to banker this. Also, you've got number 4, Houston in the race, so quite a strong hand. But Mini Coupe, if you go back earlier, finished second to Mardi Gras in a 96, and this is one of those horses that it's an owner's delight. Each time it comes to the course, it gives you one of those runs.
Yeah, they want to win, and the same for Houston. So hear me out. I've had an argument with Candace and with Tammy about this race. I like number 5, Mini Coupe, because his only win came on the Hollywoodbets Greyville polytrack, tight turning course. This is his first run on the Turffontein inside track. I can't tell you, Sheldon, for how long Candice has been nominating this horse on the inside track over this type of distance, and he's got wild draws. Draw 31 out of 31, 23 out of 23. I mean, just stay at home. Don't bother. Find another race. Go down the Vol straight again, or whatever the case may be. So now he's on the Turffontein inside track with a reasonable draw. Not a plum draw, but a reasonable draw. A draw that you can work with at least. And, you know, his turn of foot and the way that he stays on. He loses ground at the start. You obviously don't want to see that. You don't want to see him lose a couple of lengths. If he's a step slow, that's fine. But then last night I said, right, Houston or Mini Coupe? And they said, Houston's flying at home. Absolutely flying. He was stiff last time to get beaten by Emporium. A combination of Rachel Venniker's 1.5 kilo claim and also the fact that Houston had no luck in running, was trapped out deep the whole way. He's basically a winner off a £2 penalty as number 4 Houston. So from that point of view, I can see the case for number 4 Houston. But the report back is that Houston's doing better than Mini Coupe. But I'm gonna trust my eye and say that after months of perseverance and trying to get this horse over this distance from a reasonable draw on the inside track, that it's going to be reward time for number 5 Mini Coupe. But I'm not the trainer. The trainer says other way, number 4 Houston. 1 Rain or Shine, big chance as well. A little bit worried about the weight. Rain or Shine's duck or no dinner. You can tell by his profile. He either goes totally missing or runs a big race. There's no sort of in between. He's not going to run a nice third. He's either going to win in commanding fashion or run a dismal race. So number 1 Rain or Shine, a definite inclusion into your pick 6 and trifectas and quartets.
Well, there's going to be quite a bit of camaraderie between yourself and Candice, and if Houston comes through to beat Mini Coupe, you're going to be cooking for the week, and the other way around, vice versa.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm not even going to compete with Candice in the kitchen. She could open a restaurant tomorrow, so I'll find something else. I'll mow the lawn or something next week.
Okay, we'll take the second on that one. Let's get into the final event, and looking at the final event, yeah, you're going with numbers 2 and 6 to bring down the curtain.
So there's a few horses in here that catch my eye, Sheldon, but from a PA perspective, I'm comfortable with 2 and 6. The horses that I haven't put in that catch my eye, number 3, Universal Love. I think a mile on the inside track is just going to catch her out. But when she goes 2,000 metres, races like the Oaks Trial, the Ormond Ferraris Oaks Trial, I don't know whether she's quite going to be a Volkerbos Drift Oaks filly, not yet anyway, but with a couple more races and going over a trip, just keep an eye on number 3, Universal Love. There's something to like about her. Number 1, Crepuscular, also lightly raced, but giving weight away, it's going to be a tough ask despite draw 1. And then number 7, Anytime Champs, popped up on my radar of late as well. But like I said, I'm comfortable with the 2 horses here, 2 and 6. Godfather, consistent runs lastly. Chase Morjan up for Robin Parson. He was quoted to run at that meeting at the VAR a week and a half ago, where I really liked him out of draw one. He ought to run a nice race. And then number 6, A Place in the Sun, ran a cracking race from a terrible draw last time on the VAR Classic track. This time he's got a good draw. She's got a good draw. The way that she ran on caught my eye, and although I can't go crazy on a win bet in this race, I think both those horses will at least be fighting it out, and we should be good enough in the PA.
Excellent. So looking at the place accumulator, you should be safe there. So that's a look at the program. Looking forward to some real good racing on the day. And Alistair, you'll be in Cape Town on the day?
Yeah, I'll be down in Cape Town for the Cape Racing Sale Ready to Run Stakes and the Southeaster Sprint, and also the Prestige Plate, which is cut up, unfortunately. And then also the sale on Sunday. That's going to be good fun. Winchester Mansion's half-brother is on sale, among others. So yeah, looking forward to all of that down in Cape Town this weekend.
Well, just before we let you go, we're going to bring up your suggested bet, and if you wouldn't mind taking through all your followers, you can take them through your suggested bet, which is now on screen.
Yeah, PA begins at 20 past 1 on the 9-race card. Small field, so keeping it nice and tight. Banker 6, Champagne Cocktail. By Banker 1, Mrs. Browning. Then gone 3 and 7, Smorgasbord and Zanovi in the third leg. Race 5. By 3 and 5, Jordan, the House of Romanov. That's a race that I'm quite uncomfortable about, to be honest. So, if you like the frontline, Silver Sanctuary, Eiffel Tower, Emporium, don't be scared to put them in and just perhaps cast your net a little bit wider. By 6 and 8, Millihue and Basie. By Banker 5, Mini Coupe, if my wife was next to me, she'd be screaming, saying, no, put 4 Houston in as well. And then 2 and 6, Godfather, and A Place in the Sun.
Thank you very much, Alistair. Thanks for the input, and certainly you'll have a great day's racing, and then after that we'll be into the rugby. So straight after the racing, the rugby will be on the go, so it's a festive weekend ahead, and make the most of it.
Cheers, Sheldon. Thanks so much. Yep, looking forward to the rugby. We should get past England, although there's no pressure on them, but looking like a South African-New Zealand final, and that sits well with me because obviously the two powerhouses of world rugby, that will be a good final to watch.
Well, there we have it. Thanks very much to Alistair Cohen giving us the lowdown, and hopefully the horses come through, and in particular we'll be looking at Mini Coupe and Houston, because between Alistair and also the stable, Candice Dawson, he said he's not going to take her on in the cooking department, so take her on in the racing department.